as our summer intern in the resilience office. So we're really excited to have her help this summer. She's a graduate student over at the College of Charleston with a background in environmental science and sustainability. So really excited, and she's helping us update our sea level rise strategy and helping us get better on our communication tools, working on a lot of really neat storyboards and visuals, and working with all the different departments across the city to update this important work. So she'll be joining us when we have some committee work going on. So just wanted to introduce everybody to Hastings, but I will go ahead and toss it over to the chair now.
Great. Thank you very much, Kaylin. And we'll lead off the meeting. And Hastings, great to see you. Thank you again. Lead off the meeting. We've had wonderful contributions from Bob and Laura, and excited to have Jack and Andrew on as well. And so wanted to introduce them and give them an opportunity to introduce themselves as well. So Jack joins us as Bob's substitute, or replacement for Bob, and Jack is really neat, great resume. Was U.S. Military Academy graduate and Harvard Law School, and an Army officer for 5 years, and worked in D.C. For a number of years, a number of other places, and in the legal world, most recently Corning, large global corporation. So comes to us at the Charlestown Association. So certainly appreciate Jack, you agreeing to join us and you devoting your time to this. And I hand the mic over to you for a little bit to introduce yourself and say hello.
Thanks, Haygood, and hello everyone. And I'm pleased and honored to be on this committee. And I think Haygood kind of did a good job of describing my background. So I will say, in my 5 years in the Army, I was in the Army Corps of Engineers for all 5 of those years. 3 of those years were sort of becoming an airborne ranger and training troops and the military side. But for 2 years, I was on the side that is like doing this project here. I was managing military construction in Okinawa. I think the other thing I'll say is I retired in 2017. My wife and I moved down here in 2019. We live on South Battery by the Coast Guard station. And yes, I've been working with Bob the Big for a couple of years on the Charleston Neighborhood Association's flooding committee. So he's got me aware of what's been going on with your committee here. And we talked through issues like supporting the PED and those things. So I feel like he's given me a pretty good background on the work that this committee does. And that's all I've got for now.
Well, thank you again, Jack. We look forward to having you on the committee and greatly appreciate the time in advance, the time you'll devote to this. So thank you. Also wanted to introduce Andrew Wonderly, who is replacing Laura Cantrell as representative of the environmental community. Andrew's the executive director and the Charleston Waterkeeper. Went to College of Charleston as well as Charleston School of Law. After that, clerked for Supreme Court of Appeals. Is also a staff attorney at the Court of Appeals, and has worked in and around the waterfront. And Waterkeeper is a very relevant, great organization, and just a couple of things they do are water quality testing. Very relevant clean water advocacy, habitat restoration, and then pollution monitoring and reporting, and also it's really need to have a free of charge program for mobile pump out services in the harbor. So Andrew, if you could please give us introduce yourself and flesh out those details. Thank you.
Yeah, well, thank you, Haygood, and thank you all for having me as part of this committee. I think really, really important, obviously, for the future of the city of Charleston and surrounding areas. So, I am Charleston Waterkeeper. I've been with the organization now for about 10 years, and so I've seen kind of the full arc of this issue from just first recognizing that sea level rise was an issue to now taking steps to work to confront it. And so really pleased to be part of this. But Charleston Waterkeeper, environmental advocacy organization, we do kind of our strategy or approach is sort of a mix of activities from what we call kind of boots in the water stewardship. And as Haygood mentioned, that can be everything from water quality testing to habitat restoration to mobile pump outs and that sort of thing. We're also engaged in what we call clean water advocacy. And so, we work to make sure that environmental laws are followed, and we work to hold folks accountable for following those laws. We've been fortunate to draw a big constituency of support from the Charleston community. It's a community that I'm sure you all are aware loves the water, loves to spend time in and around the water. It's why the city is where it is. It's why our community is oriented the way it is. And so I think these issues obviously are very important. And I'm thrilled to be part of this group to work to tackle some of them. So thanks for having me.
Our pleasure. Thank you. Again, appreciate both of y'all joining us and the time. And so that said, I'll quick point of order. I'm going to looking at the agenda. Jordy's kindly agreed to give a update on Union Pier, so I'm going to throw that as the 3A directly after the update from the city. So Jordy, thank you very much for agreeing to do that. As a informational item for us, important informational item. And so with that said, unless there's any other thoughts, questions, or comments from the committee as we get started, I'll hand it over to Dale.
Thank you, Haygood and Jack and Andrew. On behalf of the city, part of this committee, thank you for joining and welcome. I've spoken with both of you. All that I will say is I'm always delighted to be surrounded by what I call RSPs, really smart people, and I would count you as an RSP, both of you, and for the committee, engines and motors, they have a lot of power in them, whether that's horsepower or torque. And I don't know if you're a horsepower or torque, but you're clearly a strong addition to the committee, and we appreciate it. So thank you. I just want to make a brief reference to to our intern, Hastings Merrick. Just so you know, we put this advertisement out, and a lot of applications come in from a lot of really smart young people. And Hastings was clearly one of the best. And as we talked with her and I saw her experience, she's come on, so she's going to help us over the summer. One of the things that we know that the city needs to do better with is communicating all the things we're doing, and Hastings is helping with us with that. So if you see her around or she pings you or emails you, she's asking on my behalf or the mayor's behalf or Caitlin's behalf. So help her out if you can. Appreciate that. So just some updates. There's not a whole lot going on, although a key milestone on June 10th, the Chief of Engineers of the Army Corps signed the feasibility study, so it becomes an official chief's report, which is wonderful. It was sent then to the House and Senate committees of jurisdiction, as well as to the White House Office of Management and Budget for consideration for authorization in this year's Word bill. Fortunately, Senate and House staff had been preparing for this and for some other efforts by the Army Corps Engineers. So in the House version, House Representatives version of the Word bill, there is language to authorize moving forward with the project. That bill, the House bill, was passed in a strong majority vote, 380 to 50 or 60, 370, something like that. So a pretty strong vote, passed House committee or House before the House. So it's waiting for Senate consideration. The Senate has its own version, and within that version, there is also authorization language to move forward with the Army Corps project here in Charleston and I think 17 other cities. So that's good, or 17 other locations. Terrific. The Senate schedule, as you may know, they determine it sometimes on a day-to-day or week-to-week basis. It's different than the House. There is right now a plan to move it in July, to consider it in July. We'll see if they get there, but it's looking good for the word authorization and for our project to move forward. What we would need then is from the federal level is a additional legislative action by the House and the Senate to provide an appropriation to the funding in fiscal year 2023 for the Army Corps of Engineers to commit their money to do PED, which then in turn would trigger a serious negotiation between the city and the Army Corps on the design agreement, which would structure what we do and how we do things in PED. So, and at that point, once the design agreement is negotiated, that would become a request to City Council for the city's funding of that. So we've talked about this before, but things are moving along. So that's really good. I will also note that we mentioned the SHORE Act, which is legislation that would enable the Army Corps of Engineers to do more things with CSRM projects and studies. SHORE Act language is part of the current versions of both the House and Senate Word bills, so that's encouraging. We hope that that legislation and that language stays within the bills as it moves through these processes. So let's see what happens. And then I hope you all enjoyed the last meeting with our friend Kyle Spencer from the city of Norfolk. It was interesting. You can see what they're doing. I have had a discussion, a meeting with the folks up in New York. They have a number of CSRM projects underway up there, from really starting in Hurricane Sandy, but there's a larger one. I'm talking with them to see if they may want to give you all a briefing at some point in the future about what they're doing. So that could be that's a future TBD, but we'll see. So that's an update on the 3x3. I'm very excited to announce that the comprehensive integrated water plan that you all pushed hard for is moving forward. As you know, we put a procurement out in April. We closed the procurement in May. We had 5 major submissions, 5 different teams with substantial submissions to us. We reviewed those internally, a selection committee of 7, including 2 members of City Council, including Councilman Mike Seekings, who's listening. We went through the selection committee process and selected a team. Again, 5 submissions, and we selected, or the committee selected, the best team that they thought could do the work. And that is a team led by Black & Veatch, and Stephen O'Connell, a local firm or a national firm with a strong local presence here. They know a whole lot about the hard infrastructure and how the city operates that and does that. They're, well-known folks here. The team has a number of partners in it. There are 3 other key partners whose name I would just like to mention to you. So Black & Veatch, Biohabitat, which is a leading nature-based features, natural-based engineering firm, the CEO of which is based here in Charleston, Keith Bowers, you may know him. Delighted to have them. We also have Wagner & Ball from the Dutch Dialogues, my colleague and friend David Wagner leading that, and that's going to be just a tremendous improvement for our ability to do really smart design. And we have Moffitt & Nichol. They will do some of the coastal engineering and the coastal sort of analysis work for us to make sure we have all those things lined up. And then there are a number of other subs. we are working through with them a final scope and set of deliverables for them. And once that we agree on that schedule, scope, deliverables, once we agree on that, we will work to get them under contract, and hopefully they will be able to start work for us in August. So that's all very encouraging. And then you may or may not know, but City Council did, through its ad hoc budget committee, as well as the last City Council meeting, it did agree to move forward with an additional $500,000 for the water plan. City Council still has to take another action on that in the future to, I guess, fully approve and appropriate that money, but that feels good. And I'll just thank Councilman Seekings and others for their leadership on that, and strong supporter, and we're delighted for that. Then the Rosemont Resilience Plan, that is moving forward. You know, we have a idea to put a scope of work out on the street real soon. If we can, if the water plan team wants to do that and the community wants them to do that, that's another possibility with the procurement contract that we have written, the procurement proposal we have written. We'll see where that goes. We are, LAMC is applying for money from NIFWIF, a grant application from NIFWIF to have the community contribute to portions to the funding of this resilience plan. So that would be really good. It's encouraging that NIFWIF moved LAMC's application for this further along in the process. So it's a very good sign. And if that occurs, then we'll be able to have, with the city money and with LAMC's money or the NIFWIF money, we'll be able to develop a strong resilience plan for that community. So that's moving along quite nicely. And then those are the key updates I had, and I'll turn it back to you, Haygood.
Thank you very much, Dale. All great to hear, particularly, well, on all items. I see in your background the beginnings of the Rosemont plan, so that's a good thing. I know that's been a long time. I'm excited to hear the progress there. So with that said, as I mentioned earlier in the meeting, I'd love to hand it over to Jordy now to talk to Union Pier, unless there are any questions or comments for Dale relative to his updates. So that's it. Please, you have show by raise of hands if there are any questions for Dale on the updates he just gave. Seeing none, I'll hand it over to Jordy.
Hey, thank you. Hey, good. And y'all, I apologize. I'm en route to Greenville to speak to a group of teachers and counselors up in the upstate today. So sorry for the distracting background. Just quickly wanted to announce, obviously this Friday, or maybe not obviously, but this Friday, we're having the transition of leadership of the port. Melvin will be assuming the on Friday. First female to run a port, first female to run a top 10 container owner-operated port. So we're excited about that. You may have also heard that we are engaging in moving forward with the redevelopment of Union Pier. So just briefly, you know, it's an exciting opportunity for the city and for the port. It's about 70 acres on the peninsula, prime real estate that has been long talked about to be redeveloped. In fact, a vision of Mayor Riley's many years ago. So we're excited to be moving forward with that. There will be some opportunities for community engagement later this summer and fall. So stay tuned for notices on that. And just wanted to make mention of that and say it's good to see everybody. I hope everybody's having a great summer. And again, I apologize for my audio and video this morning as I'm en route to Greenville.
Thanks, Jordy. I appreciate that. It's very exciting about Barbara taking over. It's obviously Jim's done a wonderful job, and excited to see that success continue for the port. Any other notes or comments on kind of Union Pier redevelopment items or anything along those lines that you want to share? Or I know it's early stage, so I don't want to. It's sort of cart before the horse.
Terrible audio. What was the question?
Oh, any other comments or thoughts on Union Pier redevelopment as it relates to timing or anything like that? I know that's a moving target, of course, at this point.
Like I mentioned, we're going to be rolling out some community engagement opportunities this summer and fall. So we'll be, sending out invitations to those events, and that'll be an opportunity to see to get input from the community, as well as, sees the direction that we're going in with the entitlement process, working with the city. Jacob Lindsay is back in Charleston and is leading the effort on behalf of the board through Low Enterprises. And we're looking to, hopefully have this process move through sometime next year.
Great. Very exciting. Well, appreciate that update, and drive safely. That's a very short, long trip, the Greenville trip, always. Good. Well, thank you. And then Dale, Kaylin, are there any other comments? Your hand up, Dale. Thank you again, Jordy. Dale, please go for it.
Yeah, I just want to make a comment here. So Union Pier Terminal redevelopment is an important project for the city, for the region. We're thankful that the port and Lowe have brought Jacob Lindsay back, the former city planning director, to help manage that process. And just so you're aware, the city we are in touch with both Lowe and Dan Batista and Jacob Lindsay, as well as the port on this. We see this as a great evolving partnership. So there is a lot of communication on a regular basis for us. And of course, this will also impact whatever happens with the Army Corps project. So there's a collaboration and a trusted partnership there. So that's at least reassuring to us right now. It's great. Thanks. And I think I would toss it to Cashin she has a pretty cool event this afternoon, so I wouldn't mind her mentioning that to you all and encourage you to join it. But Cashin.
Good morning, everybody. It's nice to see y'all's beautiful smiling faces. So this afternoon, Historic Charleston Foundation is hosting, along with the city's Office of Resilience, our second water dialogue series. This afternoon, we will get a presentation from the state's Chief Resilience Officer, Ben Duncan, and one of Ben's lead staff members on the statewide resilience plan and what the state is doing with this newly created office. And then Dale will also provide us with some information on other states like Louisiana, Texas, and the resilience work that they've done. So I'd love for everybody to join. It's at 4:00, should run about an hour. And I'll be happy to send out the registration link if y'all are interested.
Please do, Cashin. That'd be great. Thank you. That's very exciting. It'll be good to hear latest on that. Well, good. Anybody have any comments or questions for Cashin regarding that event? Good. Well, appreciate Cashin, again, I appreciate that. It's definitely exciting. It'll be a good one to watch. And then moving to topic number 4, with regard to meeting occurrence for July and August, there's not a lot of action items for the committee. Dale and Gail and I talked about this. For those 2 months prior to September, it may make sense to move to ad hoc meetings. Would obviously love to open that up for discussion, get everybody's thoughts there. But September is when we should be ramping back up again. A lot of people also out of town with summer going on and all that. So proposed thought there is that we move to calling meetings for July and August at basically the chair's discretion, which would really be triggered by, is there something either informationally or from a requisite feedback standpoint for us to handle in those 2 months. So that said, would love to open that up for comments, questions from the committee. See a thumbs up from Kevin.
It's a summer group, I think, today. They're all ready to go enjoy the sun That's
You
great.
could pose a motion, Mr. Chair, and if everybody unanimously agrees, then.
That sounds good. Well, seeing looks like with general agreement, I'll move to suggest we call July and August at my discretion, the chairman's discretion. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 All those opposed, please say nay. So moved. Thank you all very much. It's exciting. Hopefully everybody has big summer plans. And Andrew, Jack, and Hastings, I greatly appreciate y'all joining. Very excited to have y'all on board.
Thank you.
Good
My
deal.
pleasure. Thanks.
Oh, it's ours. And yeah, no, thank y'all very much. Well, I think this is the first, but I think I get to give everybody 30 minutes back today instead of taking it. So that's always a good thing. Any other thoughts or comments or commentary, anything like that? I see Susan. I see your hand up. Please go for it.
There she is again. I was curious about the timeline when the Army Corps feasibility project will come to City Council, and whether anybody has any updates on where we think that stands there, and whether we think we should become a little more proactive about community engagement and pursuing support for that project at the council level.
Dale, I'll hand it to you. Yep.
Sure. So my understanding of this is we would wait until the Congress has done its job regarding the authorization, which is important, right? Otherwise, the project will not move forward without that. That's sort of a necessary step from the U.S. Congress. Where the bills are generally non-controversial, they generally get strong bipartisan support. They could be, once the House and Senate pass their versions, they could go to conference and boom, kick it out and pass the bill. They could pass the conference report pretty quickly and without any controversy in September or October. They could also wait to wrap it into a end of year bill where they, as Congress is apt to do these last 15 years, is just throw everything in one bill and pass it that way. Once that authorization is there, that's a key step. Then the Army Corps Engineers with that could try to fund their part of PED under what's called their investigations budget. But that is, they would be trying to draw the cities, they would be trying to draw the Charleston district's portion of that money from that investigations budget, and that's US wide. So ideally, you would have an additional appropriation. It's a separate legislative action by the House and the Senate that would give the Army Corps the money, specific money for the Charleston PED process. Okay, and there are strong indications that our congressional delegation would support that, but until the authorization is done, it's sort of, you do that in a stepwise fashion. Once that would occur, we know the Army Corps could start PED, then we would work, we meaning collectively the city, key members of city council, key stakeholders would work on the design agreement. That design agreement then that's a legal contractual obligation between the non-federal and federal sponsors. We would then work through that, get that tidied up and agreed upon. And I think that is what we would then suggest that city council consider as it considers how to fund the city's contribution to PED. So that's how that would work. I think, again, our schedule is still Q4 2022, Q1 of 2023. I don't see any reason to change that sort of ballpark schedule right now. But Congress can do crazy things. So Yeah, that's how I see it moving forward. And just so you're aware, I have made myself available to all of the neighborhood associations around the city to come talk with them. I have been doing that on a regular basis, meeting with groups of 20 and 30 people online as well as in person, and just getting to know some folks and then talking to them what the city's doing, including with the Army Corps of Engineers project. So there is some curiosity about that. I think it's useful. Well, I think people understand things better. We'll see where that goes. I had an awesome meeting with the Low Country Model A Ford Club with folks from all across the region. And the best thing was I got to tell them about the project, and they got to show me these old Ford Model A vehicles, and that was just a lovely benefit to me. So we are trying to communicate this, but again, I think we need Congress to do some of their work first, and then we would move forward with more information about this. Does that make sense?
It does. I'm just concerned about, I know you're working hard to try to, have appearances before civic groups, and summer is tough. I'm just concerned that the level of awareness about the project in general is lower than perhaps it should be. And, we need to be aware of that, even though it's summer.
Yeah. So I'm not so sure that the level of awareness is too low. I mean, there are a lot of people that I'm in touch who ask me regularly what's going on.
Okay,
people I don't know, and they want a briefing on this. And so I do think I have to continue to work to explain what this is and what it is not, and where we are and where we are not, but and what could be forthcoming. But there's a fair level of awareness. I think people may wonder what's happening.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's my job, is to help to try to explain that.
Great.
The committee's publication, is useful. We refer to it, refer people to it on a regular basis. So that's a useful benefit.
Great. Thank you.
To that point, Susan, maybe we talk offline about getting a working group meeting scheduled. Just to use some of the, if we do have downtime, use some of the downtime to your point, refine communications or create new ones.
Okay. And we should include our new intern in that meeting.
That's right. Yeah.
That sounds like a good idea. Thank you.
And actually, Andrew and Jack, I need to call y'all just separately to talk through the working groups and also introduce myself further. So please be on the lookout for that in the coming weeks.
Sounds good.
Great. Good deal. Well, thank y'all. Cashin just sent out the link. I'm going to copy and paste that, but thank you, Cashin, for sending out the link with the Chief Resilience Officer with the state. Well, good. Well, with no other comments or questions, I will go ahead and end the meeting. So certainly appreciate everybody's time here today, and enjoy rest of what we have left of June and beginning of July if we don't speak sooner.